This query runs, no errors, no warnings, and is still wrong. If you've ever sent a report out and later heard, these numbers don't look right, then this video is for you. Most SQL tutorials stop at one question: does the query run? But in real jobs, especially in analytics and reporting, that's the least important question. Because the real question is, can the business trust this number? For this demo, we are going to use SQL Server Enterprise Developer Edition 2025, and for Management Studio, we're going to use SSMS 22, the latest version. So without further ado, let's dive into today's demo. I'm going to, I've created a connection to my database. I'm going to click on New Query Canvas, New Query, and get this canvas opened, and let's dive into it. So I'm going to paste a query here. Here's a query I see all the time. This is a sales table, customer table, and I have, joined them to just get some revenue. Okay, what's going on here? Red squiggly lines. I'm supposed to be running in data warehouse. Okay, good. And I'm trying to pull some revenue. If you are newer to SQL, this looks correct. I mean, the syntax is great. We are joining to tables, inner join, and join on the correct keys. Let me just run this query here. As it stands now, the query runs, probably the dashboard refreshes, and everybody is clapping for you. But then when you compare the output to expected results, you realize that something is off. Something is totally off. The number is higher than it should be. No syntax error, no warning, it's just wrong. So let's break it down to understand why this is the case. You may not see what is wrong here, but these numbers are being duplicated. Okay, so let's break it down. What is the first thing that we are going to try to identify? So I'm going to take the first table as my base. Okay, my baseline. So I have this query here. I'm just doing a select count. I'm trying to see the total number of rows in the first table, which is the fact internet sales. So when I run this and I execute, I have 60,000 and some change as the total number of rows. Okay. Notice how the row count is going to go up because I've joined to another table. So I'm going to do an inner join here. Okay. I'm doing an inner join to the fact internet sales reason table. So I'm going to run this right now. By merely joining to the second table, we went from 60K to 188K. All right. This doesn't mean I've added sales. It means I've duplicated sales. That's exactly what I've done here. And SQL didn't warn me because it just did exactly what I asked. This is what I asked, and this is exactly what it did. So if I did a side-by-side comparison, this is I'm just going to do a sum just so you see how the revenue is going to look. So this is my inflated sum, and this is supposed to be my corrected sum. Let me put an F here for my alias just so you can work out. Okay, good. Right? So this is the expected sales, the corrected sales, but because I joined to this table here, I'm getting something way different. So I gave it different names just so you can follow along. I have the inflated sales and I have the correct sales. So what actually went wrong here in this query? The first problem here is that the two tables are of different grains, right? In this table here, select start from, there is one sale record per row, okay? One sale record per row. If I run this, you'd see that, where is the sale? Yeah, this is a sales order, so one sale record per row. But if you look at the second table that I have been joining to, you'd quickly realize something different. One sale can have multiple sales reasons, okay? One sale, so this is one sale, okay? But it has two sales reasons. So right from there, there's a different grain for this second table as compared to the first table. That's the first problem here. So in this example, the problem is in the syntax. The mistake is in the syntax. The syntax are good. Everything we have typed so far, the queries, the joins, everything, it just runs smoothly. It runs correctly. Essentially, it's assuming all joins are harmless because it's assuming that the tables have the same, level of details, right? Anytime you join like a fact table to, I would say, another fact-like table, the first question you should be asking yourself is, am I multiplying the rows? Like, am I duplicating the data? Because SQL is not going to warn you. It's just going to duplicate the data, and aggregations are just going to hide the mistakes. You're going to sum up the bad logic and it's going to look clean. In this example, SQL didn't fail us. It's not like SQL failed us. It's just that our assumptions failed us. We are assuming all the data have the same details. So how are we going to fix this problem? So I just started here by showing the count. Here's how I'm going to fix it, and more importantly, how I think about it. The first step is to validate the row counts, which I already did here. Steps to fix. Let me just put here. I like that, but let me. Steps to fix, okay? The first step is that I have to validate the row counts, and I have to understand the data grain, right? And as I run this query, I already showed how different the values are in terms of the count. In this query that I wrote to fix it, let me put this as my complete fix. Okay, completed query with correct grain. Let me just move this a little bit up and so that I can compare side by side. If not, I'm just going to create another tab, new query, and then I'm going to put this side by side here, like that. Okay, so this is the fix, and this is the wrong one, so the wrong query. Okay, so notice what I didn't do here. I didn't join the table, right? Once I validated the record counts, I had to validate its existence. Does it actually have an entry in this table? That's all I'm trying to do here. I'm validating its existence. Do we have an entry that matches a value from this table that matches an entry in this table? Okay, same business logic. Now I'm just trying to correct the grain and correct the totals. That's all I'm doing here. I'm not simply joining it. I'm just, like I said, I'm validating its existence in this table. And if it exists, I'm just picking one record. That's all I'm just saying, validating it. Okay, so this is how you typically think through some of the requirements and some of the queries you're writing. One, to avoid duplicates, and two, not to compound sales and make your company looks great on the books accidentally. So I'll end by saying SQL didn't lie to us. We just lied to ourselves about the data. This brings me to the end of today's demo. This is how bad data ends up in dashboards. Not because people are careless, but because SQL allows mistakes to quietly pass. So if you want to level up, stop asking, does it work? And start asking, can I defend these numbers in a meeting? Because SQL Reality Check isn't really about writing queries. It's about thinking like someone the business can trust. See you in my next video.